Welcome to 4.2, the Feasibility Analysis. I hope everyone is doing great because today our lesson will be long, no? So, before one starts a business, of course, one will want to make sure if that business idea is feasible, or in other terms pa, is it viable or advisable nga ba to pursue that venture? So, let's put it in this way. Is your business idea worth your time or your effort and money to create this business venture? Sulit nga ba? That is when feasibility study comes in. So, why is it, do you think, na necessary i-conduct ang feasibility analysis? What do you think will likely happen if we skip this phase, no? So, upon entering a feasibility study, there is a chance to ask manggod and get answers sa mga questions that will help you na ma-assess ang potential opportunities and predict, no, the likelihood of your success or failure of a specific business venture. So, dalawa yung possible mong patunguhan, success or failure. Of course, through feasibility analysis, no, we can avoid failure or we can seize the opportunity, no, for success. So, again, ang atoang business planning process as an overview, it starts with a business idea. Sa idea phase, and then we will proceed sa business planning phase. Yung creative thinking, it was discussed na ang skill of creative thinking can be learned. Ani nga phase or ana nga topic which is basic or business idea or creating business idea. Then karon we were able to assess an idea assessment through the idea sketchpad, no, nga ato ang agian or ato ang discuss sa lesson 4.1. And now we are up to feasibility analysis. And then after sa feasibility analysis, we will be developing a business model. And dapat after sa business model, mahimo na tag business plan. However, we will skip that phase. We will continue sa launching ng business. Yung strategic, crafting a business plan, yung strategic planning, mao ni ang creation sa vision, mission, and objectives or VMGO of your organization. So, diri ka mohimo og strategies based on how will you achieve ang imuhang strategies, based on how will you achieve these goals, vision, mission, and goals and objectives. So, ang feasibility study, it is consist of 4 interrelated components. So, after conducting an idea assessment, an entrepreneur scrutinizes the idea further through feasibility analysis, wherein it will encompass 4 components. First is the industry and market feasibility analysis. Second is the product or service feasibility analysis. And then the entrepreneur feasibility analysis, wherein we were able to assess your entrepreneurial competencies through the PEC or the personal entrepreneurial competencies in lesson 4.1. And then we will proceed to financial feasibility analysis. So we will be studying each, no? So for our learning objectives, first, our goal is to know feasibility analysis and its significance, and then differentiate feasibility analysis and business plan, and understand and acquire the knowledge of analyzing and or computing important components of a feasibility study. So in case you want to pursue a certain venture, you can be able to conduct a mini feasibility analysis, no? So, let us first define feasibility study. Ano nga ba ang feasibility study? Okay. So, to define the word feasibility analysis, Feasibility analysis is an analysis that considers all of a project's relevant factors, including yung economic, technical, yung legal, tsaka yung scheduling considerations. This is to ascertain ang likelihood of completing your business successfully. So, by definition, ang feasibility analysis is the process of determining whether an entrepreneur's idea is a viable foundation for creating a successful business. And a feasibility study assesses the practicality of a proposed plan or business. So, a company may conduct a feasibility study when we consider launching a new business or adapting new product line. So we can conduct feasibility analysis. So to differentiate feasibility analysis, ang feasibility study yan, it assesses the practicality of proposed plan or business. Ang feasibility analysis manggod, it is a study, it studies the total of the actions you take and questions you ask to determine whether an idea or thought or plan is likely to succeed. Whereas ang business plan, it entails how a business will operate. It assumes your feasibility study has been completed and it was determined that the idea is viable na. So, si business plan, ang sud sa business plan, it's almost the same. However, si feasibility, you are still knowing or researching or imo pang gitanaw if ang imong idea or business venture is pwede sugdan or okay ba siya for long time. Ang business plan, it entails na how a business operates. So you are going to spell out sa imong business plan yung financial and other objectives mo. So the methods you plan to use or the methods you plan to use para ma-achieve ang imuhang goals and objectives and yung proposed organizational structure mo nasa business plan mo. So that is for the business plan. And to define yung word nga business plan, ang business plan manggod, it is a written document describing a company's core business activities, objectives, and how it plans to achieve its goals. Moreover, para ma-elaborate nato pa more si business plan, it is a startup companies use business plan to get off the ground and attract outside investors. So, ayan si business plan. Si business plan also, good business plans should include an executive summary, product and services, marketing strategy and analysis, financial planning, and budget. So usually business plan contains the business activities on the 5 functional areas of management of a business enterprise, namely yung first, human resource management, then or the 4 functional areas, then operations and production management, financial management, and marketing management. So sa business plan, these aspects of management are well elaborated based on also your ongoing activities and future activities. However, si feasibility study, sugdan pa lang ang activities. So let us study more on the interrelated components of feasibility analysis. So, ato na siyang kuti-kutihon. So, taas-taas ni nga lesson, no? So, first, let's see the components of a feasibility analysis. So, a while ago, we said that there are 4. So, sa 4 na components ng feasibility analysis, itong industry and market feasibility analysis, sila yung nag-i-study or nag-a-analyze doon sa mga outside forces or external forces which will affect our business enterprise. Whereas, ang product service feasibility, financial feasibility, and your entrepreneurial competency, skills, or the entrepreneurial feasibility, these are all internal factors of an organization. And to continue or to proceed, ang environmental factors affecting an enterprise are these. First is The internal environment, which includes our structure, organizational structure, the culture within the organization, the resources, all of those factors which are directly controlled by the managers, the owners, and everyone within the company. So there are a wide range of dynamic factors that may affect a business enterprise. One of which is itong task environment. So sa internal environment na nasa loob, si tasks environment mo ni ang mga external factors. However, kining ang mga external factors, they are the ones who cannot be directly controlled. But the effect of these factors to the organization may somehow be influenced or not avoided. An example is the government policy sa pollution. It may not be beneficial to locate a business entity with a considerable noise pollution near residential areas. So, ayaw pagtukod og power plant nga saba near a subdivision. So, these are factors that which we have to consider, we have to think through para sa mga business decisions nato. Prior sa preparation ng marketing plan, ang entrepreneur will need to complete the industry analysis section, no, which will be addressed next. Ang industry analysis or the analysis of the task environment, ayan. So, from the stakeholders going outside, which covers the tasks environment. This refers to the in-depth examination of key factors within the corporation's tasks environment, which is the industry analysis. So, yan daw yung nasa task environment analysis of those factors refers to industry analysis. Okay. So, for the industry analysis, or for in analyzing the viability of a business idea, one of the things that we must consider are these factors, of course. So, example, we are trying to open up a karinderya. So, ang industry analysis, it is the analysis of the attractiveness of the industry by assessing the macro forces that shape industry and the markets they serve. So, ayan. And the markets that they serve. So, sa industry analysis, kung musod kag cafeteria, possibly ang imuhang studihan is the fast food chain industry, no? Or imong studihan, will it be favorable within the locality that you have chosen? Or daghan na ba'y competitors diha? If not, what can you offer which your competitors cannot? Or what do you have that others do not have? So, you can be able to assess the competition in the industry, in your locality. So, the primary focus of industry analysis is to provide sufficient knowledge of the environment. So, apil dihang national and local market that can affect marketing strategy decisions. So, unsa ba ning industry na imong studihan? Yung sa word na industry, yun yung group ng firms, no, that produces a similar product or service that you offer. Example, yun ng karinderya. So, possible na mga competitors niya, mga fast food chains, no? So, usually, ang industry or the external environment, it is assessed using different tools. An example of this tool is the Pest tool, which assesses only the external environment of an enterprise. Unsa man ning Pest tool or Pest Analysis? Si Pest Analysis daw, class, it is an analytical tool, ayan, that identifies how various factors on the external environment may affect an organization and its competitive standing. So, ang Pest Analysis daw is a framework used to analyze and monitor, no, the macro environment factors, yung nasa labas, that have profound impact on the organization's performance. So, dili lang basta ang factors outside, but the factors that are affecting, no, our organizational performance will be studied in the Pest tool. Moreover, si Pest tool, it is a tool especially useful when starting up a new business or entering a foreign market. So, need nimo pag-aralan ng imuhang environment. Formerly known si Pest tool as Pest Analysis. So, si Pest tool or si Pest tool, gidugangan nila, no, o kanang mga domains. So, it is often used in collaboration with the other analytical mga business tools such as the SWOT analysis or the strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats analysis. and the competitive forces model na ni Porter's 5 forces. This is to give a clear understanding of a situation related nga internal and external factors. So, si PESAL tool, it is usually used along with SWOT and 5 forces. So, si SWOT, si strength and weaknesses are the factors which are internal factors of the and business enterprise. Ang opportunities and threats are the external factors. Okay. So, to study more on the PESAL tool, first letter P stands for political or politics. Politics plays an important role sa business kasi there is a balance between systems and the control and free markets. Free nga ba magbenta sa Pilipinas or it's rather favorable na magnegosyo sa China? So you will have to consider this in politics. And next is we have economic. So sa economic factors, ito ay metrics na nagme-measure sa health of any economic region. So ayan, letter E. Sa economic region, this is for you to compare the current levels of inflation, unemployment, or economic growth and the international trade. So, you will have to be aware of these factors para mastadihan nato siya closely. Ang letter S sa Pest Analysis, it stands for the social factors. So, ang social factors, they are the factors na maa-assess mo yung mentality ng individuals or consumers in a given market. So, they are also known as the demographic factors. The letter T are the technological factors which affect the marketing in ways of producing these goods and services, pwede rin ways of distributing goods and services, and ways of communicating with the target market. Yan ang mga technological factors. Next is the environmental factors. Itong environmental factors, they are important due to the increasing scarcity ng raw materials. And of course, ang pollution, the minimum pollution required sa ato ang locality. So, doing business as an ethical and sustainable company, we have to consider environmental factors. And of course, the legal factors. So, this includes the legal or the policies in a given locality. So, governments may define or demand huge fines upon companies nga nagpo-pollute sa environment. So, these companies are also rewarded for having a positive impact or having positive impact sa atong environment. So, the consumers are willing to switch brands if they find businesses nga nag-i-ignore sa mga environmental duties ng organization. That's why dako kayong tabang if na ay advocacy ang imuhang organization. So, kini nga mga legal factors, this involves learning about these laws and regulations sa imuhang region. It is critical, of course, for avoiding unnecessary legal costs na pwedeng harapin ng imuhang business if you will overlook this factor. So, this is the last factor sa PESAL or PESTEL framework nga mga legal issues or these are the legal or the regulations which can affect a company that does not act responsibly. No, sa mga companies nga dili mo act responsibly. So kini nga mga legal factors, again, they include the mga laws and regulations in terms of the health and the safety within an environment, and then ang mga equal opportunities nga mga laws, advertising standards, consumer rights, of course, and laws, then sa product labeling and product safety. So ang disposable income, yan, makikita natin yan sa mga factors. So, let's first dissect the political, no? Political factor in the Pest Analysis. So, pwede mong ilagay under the political factors yung government policies, political stability, ano, regarding makaka-affect sa mga organization, corruption, foreign trade policy, tax policy, labor law, trade restrictions sa imuhang country. The economic factors, this includes economic growth, exchange rates, interest rate, inflation rates, disposable income. This is the amount of money that a person or a household has to spend to save after taxes are deducted. So mo na niyang net income after taxes ang disposable income. So unsa kataas ang income, ang disposable income in a given locality. So imo na siyang istadihan. An employment rate. Ayan. Then for our social factors, you will also dissect or include in the bullets the population growth rate. So na by possibilities nga maka-affect ani nga mga factors sa imong organization, sa age, career, attitudes, safety emphasis, health consciousness, lifestyle attitudes, cultural barriers, technological incentives, level of innovation, automation and research and development activities, technological change and technological awareness. For the environmental factors, this will include the weather. In example, you plan to enter into an agribusiness venture wherein magtatanim ka ng mga trees for kahoy, para sa kahoy, no? Like example, falcata. Magtanom ka. So, imo i-consider ang weather sa imong tamnanan. Baka duol na siya sa Pacific Ocean. Favorable ba ka ng tree itanom diha or maglisod ka tungod ang weather didto or ang climate didto dili favorable. So, mga ibot ang imong tanom. So, sayo harvest. Oh, no? So, it is one of these factors nga imo siyang i-dissect diha for analysis. And then this includes environmental policies, climate change, pressures from NGOs. So, including antitrust laws. So, sa mga antitrust laws, these are the statutes nga na mga na-develop by government to protect consumers from predatory business practices and ensure yung mga fair competition. So, ayan. Under din na siya sa legal ang antitrust laws. So, ang antitrust laws, these are applied sa wide range of questionable ng mga business practices, including market allocation, bid rigging, price fixing, and monopolies. So, sa legal, apilang discrimination laws, employment laws, consumer protection, and copyright and patent laws. Tingalig sa imong business venture, may masasagasa ang kang nakapatent, no? Nga mga products na. So, it's another cause sa mga lawsuits. Then, health and safety laws. Ayan. So, because everyone has the right to safety and the right to a healthy environment. So, you may write a narrative report on the 6 aspects of the external environment of your organization. It could be tabulated or in a narrative form. No? So, when you present a figure, under din sa figure, dapat na kay narrative gihapon or before the figure. Pero sa ato ang presentation, sa ato ang format nga buhaton, explanation anay ha before the figure or certain table. Explanation anay. So next class, we can use another tool that a business entrepreneur can use is the SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis refers yung SWOT, it refers to strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Again, strengths and weaknesses involves, or these are the factors which are involved in the internal environment of the business venture. Ang opportunities and threats, yun yung nasa external factors. So, these are the factors nga dili nato directly makontrol. But we can somehow influence, or we can reduce the risk sa ato ang organization by avoiding these factors, no? So SWOT analysis can reveal areas of the business that are holding you back, or that your competitors could exploit if you don't protect yourself. So by definition, ang SWOT analysis, manggod, is a technique for assessing these aspects, yung mga strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And it is a simple tool that can help you to analyze that your company does best, or where your company does best and right now, and to devise a successful strategy for the future. So this is an example of a SWOT analysis. Ayan. So strengths, S for strengths. So things your company does well. So example, usa sa imong strength is that I have enough sources, or capital resource sa ako ang operation. And then another strength is that I have enough land for expansion. Another strength is example, pwede na nimo siyang isuwat in a bulleted form. Under that format gihapon, lagi mo sa ubos, my products are barato, they are cheap compared to the competitors. Then lagay mo nimo sa ubos, my product is promotes health. So, ayan, pwede na mo siya ibutang sa strengths. Weaknesses, example of the weaknesses are the things that the company lacks. So, ayan. Sa strength, yung qualities nga will separate you from your customers. Ano meron ka na wala sila. Internal resources such as skilled, knowledgeable staff. Tangible assets such as intellectual property, capital property, or you have enough technology, access to technology. Weaknesses is something wala ba kay access to technology, so that's one of your weaknesses. Things your competitors do better than you. This could be resource limitations, unclear unique selling proposition. So ibutang nimo sa strength nimo nga naa kay enough resources. So ibutang sa imong weaknesses nga naa kay resource limitation, no? Okay. Dapat dili contradicting ang imong ipangbutang. But in a sense, you can indicate kung unsay wa ka. For the opportunities, these are the external things nga possible nimo nga ma-exploit. Underserved market for specific products, no? Like locality nga pa nimo ma-saturate, pa nimo masudlan. Few competitors in your area, so that is one of your opportunity. So, ikaw lang ang pwede nimong makuha ang dakong market share. Emerging need for your products or services. So, press or media coverage of your company. So, that is one of your opportunities. Threats are the external things also that may affect or that may pose as risk to your company. This could be emerging competitors, changing regulatory environment, negative press media coverage, changing customer attitudes towards your company. So these are the things that you may include for your analysis. So importante ni siya because there are times nga di nimo appreciate ang importance sa usa ka butang, or di nimo ma-analyze unless mag-brainstorm ka, and then di mo ma-realize nga, oops, this decision making, it's not good, and something is much better unless you do this analysis and then you list down things that you must consider. Another class or another tool that you could utilize is the 5 porters or the porters 5 forces. So, mo ni siya ang model that identifies and analyzes the 5 competitive forces that shape every industry and helps determine an industry's weaknesses and strengths. So, naalay 5 nga mga things nga gi-analyze sa 5 porters model, which is the competition. Taas ba ang competition sa imong sudlan nga industry? So, wais ba? Are you entering sa industry nga gamay lang ang mupalit nimo pero minahal, dinaghan? or daghay mo palit nimo pero ginagmay, no? You have to consider your competitors. Then, the new entrants, ang threat of new entrants into the industry, taas ba ang barriers of entry? What does this mean? Halimbawa, taas ang barriers of entry. In terms of barriers, ibig sabihin ng high barriers ang entry, lisod maka-start up ang new mga entrants. So, halimbawa, taas ang barriers of entry. Example of those which businesses which have high barriers of entry, yung halimbawa sugar plant, yung mga dinagko ang need nga mga machineries, no? So taas ang barriers of entry. So for you, if kaya na nimo sudlan, advantage na nimo. But for those businesses like catering, restaurants, so paspas lang daghan ang new entrant. So low ang barriers of entry. So you will have to analyze this one if this is favorable sa imuha or if tanan ni siya unfavorable nga mga factors. Another factor that you have to consider is the supplier power. Taas ba ang supplier power to bargain? Ibig sabihin, ang imuhabang suppliers for your specific products to be produced are gamay ra sila nga pwede mo supply nimo. That's why they could demand higher prices sa imuha tungod kay COVID ron, no? So you have to consider, or buyer power. High ang buying power. So high ang bargaining power ni buyer. Paspas ba na mahangyo ang imong mga produkto? You have to consider also this factor. Also, the threat of substitute products and services. Baka sobrang mahal ng produkto nga gagawin mo. Pagkatapos, mataas ang threat of substitute products. In short, mas daghay pwede i-substitute sa imuhang produkto. Halimbawa, unsay substitute sa butter. Pwedeng peanut butter. Like, unsay substitute sa dairy cream. Pwedeng mayonnaise, di ba? So, daghay possible nga substitute products. So, you have to consider if the threat of substitute products and services are high. So, 5 Porter's or Porter's 5 forces is named after Harvard Business School professor, which is Michael E. Porter. Ayan, siya ang nagpasiugda ani nga tool. Lastly, class, that analysis that I will introduce sa inyo is the competitive analysis. Competitive analysis is an in-depth investigation and analysis of your competition. Importante ni siya because you will have to consider the components of a comprehensive market analysis. So, competitive analysis will allow you to assess your competitors' strengths, weaknesses in your marketplace and implement effective strategies to improve your competitive advantage. Again, what is competitive advantage? Competitive advantage, it refers to the factors that allow your company to produce goods and services better or more cheaply than its rival competitors. Anong meron ka na wala sila? No? Anong edge mo? Yan ang competitive advantage mo. So, si comprehensive analysis, it will, or you will have to identify the key strengths and weaknesses of you and your competitors, no? For a specific domain. Example, ayan. Let us first define your competitors. Na ay different type of competitors. So first, your direct competitors. These are the businesses or any business marketing a product is similar to or a substitute for your product in the same geographic area. So yun din yung direct competitors mo. Example, namaligya ka guys, cream, Magnolia. So si Magnolia, iyang direct competitor si Nestle, no, within a locality. Indirect competitors are firms offering dissimilar or substitute products in relation to your products or services. Example, manufacturer of butter and the manufacturers of margarine selling to the same customer. So parehas siyang palaman sa tinapay. However, hindi siya parehas. Isang butter, isang margarine. Or isang mayonnaise, isang margarine. So substitute per siya. So indirect siya nga competitor nimo. So, again, for the example, to illustrate, ingon ani on paghimog competitive analysis. You list down the you have to document the current strategy, no, of your primary competitors. So this can be organized using this table. The information or the competitors can be gathered initially by using a public information as possible. So mangutana pod ka, dili ka mag stick sa imuhang ideas. So yun yung tamang gawin talaga. To gather more information, dapat as an entrepreneur we must be information seeking. So in complementing this, dapat makomplemento siya sa marketing research project, no, or research paper, newspaper. Pwede na to siyang i-complement with the newspaper articles, websites, catalogs, promotions, like interviews sa mga distributors, customers ng imong same product or same product line, ilahang marketing strategy, company information nga available. So kinahanglan nimo siya mga ma-review ang mga factors sa imong competitors also. So once the strategy has been summarized, so the entrepreneur should begin to identify the strengths and weaknesses of each competitor. So in this table, you can utilize this to formulate the market positioning of your new venture, no? So will the venture imitate a particular competitor, or will you try to satisfy the need in the market that are not being tilled by another company? So this analysis will enlighten the entrepreneur and provide a solid basis for any marketing strategy nimo. So as a new venture, wa pa kay labot diha sa imong i-analyze. Ang imo sa i-analyze mga competitors sa nimo. Tan-aw nimo ang ilang products and strategies nila. Si competitor A ba barato ang iyang pricing strategy, product and services iyang mga strengths. Mas nindot ba si company B, distribution strategies, mas paspas ba makaabot sa consumer si company C, what are their promotion strategies for the market to be aware of their products and services, are they using different media tools, strengths and weaknesses. So you will be comparing this and then you will decide whether imong sundugo ng ilahang strategy or you will fill the gap unsay wa nila mahatag sa market or unsay preferences sa market nga wa nila mahatag. So that is for our industry analysis. So let's proceed to the marketing analysis. So diba industry and market feasibility? Ayan. So ang market feasibility man god, to define it, marketing involves the gathering, no, of data to determine such information as who will buy the product or service that you will offer. Then what is the size of the potential market? What price should be charged? Then what is the most appropriate distribution channel? What is the most effective promotion strategy to inform and reach your potential customers? So you'll have to decide about that. Because marketing feasibility is the process of determining the viability, no, of a new service or product through research conducted directly with potential customers. So this type of research can be conducted sa in-house, pwedeng in-house ng company kumbaga kung existing na, or pwede ring kamo, no, as a new business entrepreneur, or pwede ring third party na company that specializes in market research, no? So you will hire someone to do the market research. So this can be done through surveys, pwede ring product testing, pwede ring focus group discussion. So there will be test subjects, no, which are usually compensated with the product samples. So or they will be paid with a small stipend for their time. Yan. So there will be test subjects or people you will hire. So market research man god is a critical component ng research and development of a new product or service. That's why this is really necessary, because market feasibility, it allows a company to discover the target market and their opinions and their feedback from customers about their interests in a product or service. Yung mga malalaking company, ilan na dun ni siya, tagaan og time para mastadihan ang preferences sa market to capture the heart of their target market, no? So, ayan. Ang market research is the bigger domain which starts from product conception, development, how will it be sold, why customers, or why customer behavior, or why will they buy or not buy a certain product, or how will they use or dispose this or repurchase. So, it's like researching every domain of the marketing and the consumer behavior aspects, including yung brand equity, positioning, pating image, no? It researches all areas of marketing. It's like researching the appropriate product design, no? So I would like to introduce to you the 4 P's of marketing. Apat na P ng marketing. So it's the product, price, place, and promotion. So in marketing feasibility or marketing research, you will research about the appropriate product design, the price that may or will capture your will capture the preferences of your market, the place or the strategic place where you have to put your physical store, and the promotion suitable for your market. So you will have to define in this marketing feasibility your SOM, SAM, and TAM. So, TAM is the total available market. Example, halimbawa, mamaligay ako ng vacuum fried sweet potato. Example, akong target mga customers or mga passengers, sa mga pasalubong center ko siya ilalagay sa mga terminal, no? So, for abroad, pasalubong, ayan. So, silang ako ang serviceable obtainable market. So, doon sa terminal. So, passengers. And then, ang serviceable available market is within bye-bye. Because I can deliver these products sa different stores sa bye-bye. And may total available market. So, sa total available market, dili nila tanan ako ma-cater. Which is late, no? So, in market feasibility, you will define whom are your SOM, SAM, and TAM. So, you have to define the demographics. So, ayan. Yan yung example na questionnaire, no? So, sa ano naman to, sa laundry, sa dry cleaning. So, you can see the picture sa inyong slides, no? Sa available slides sa Google Classroom. Okay, so let's proceed to the product feasibility. Yung portion na to of the feasibility analysis, this addresses this question. So, what problems are you solving? So, para maibigay mo kung ano yung klase or quality or the product design that you will offer. Then, what is distinct about your product or service nga wala ang lain? What's your edge? What will it cost to produce it? What could you charge for it? Then, can you make a reasonable return given the startup cost and risks? So, ang product research is the subdomain within marketing research gihapon. But it starts with the idea generation and screening. What is the customer's needs and wants? Accordingly, ang product is conceived, no? Researched. So, imong ma-prototype, ang ma-develop nimo ang prototype, ma-analyze nimo pa siya, ma-test nimo ang market, until ma-commercialize nimo. So, ang product design aspects are dealt in here. So, unsa ba iyahang core sa product, ang augmented product nimo, so it will be dealt here. Labeling and packaging designs are also taken care of. Then, it's basically about product development. So, sa product feasibility, it's basically about product development and modification research ng imuhang product after gaining insights from several aspects of consumer research and marketing research. So, kung interconnected gihapon siya with marketing research. Nga lang, si product feasibility is all about the product development and the modification of it. So, si market research kasi, it is all about the product segments, Like selling hotcakes, where it is selling, hasa ni mo ibaligya, how much will you sell it, kanus ang season nga mas taas siya. So ang imong studihan ana is the market, kanus nila mas ganahan ang imong product. So it's all about brand share, market share, where is it selling, region, which channel, so sa mga shops, market preferences, ang ilang demographics, their awareness to your products and services, ang ilang willingness to consume and purchase them. Moreover, you also ask for the price wherein they are willing to purchase your offers. So, unang kalahian sa product feasibility and market research. So, this is an example of a product feasibility questionnaire wherein you can observe no ang mga questions ani specific sa tomato juice para ma-improve nila ang juice. Okay. Next class is the entrepreneurial feasibility, the third aspect of our feasibility study. So the entrepreneurial feasibility, this measures the readiness of the entrepreneur to launch a venture successfully. So many new businesses require that an entrepreneur have a certain set of knowledge, experiences, and skills to have any chance of being successful. This is called entrepreneurial readiness. So there is one last component sa ato ang feasibility to examine the readiness ng entrepreneur. And if applicable, yung entrepreneur's team mismo. This is to launch the venture successfully. Ayan. So this will require the entrepreneur to fill up no using the developed tool ng UPLB, yung PEC. No? Ang tawag daw doon sa businesses or entrepreneurs which have a certain set of knowledge, experience, and skills to have a chance of being successful is entrepreneurial readiness. Yun yung tawag doon. Entrepreneurial readiness. Entrepreneurs having this set of knowledge needed para maging successful. Knowledge, skills, and experience. Okay. So, sa entrepreneurial feasibility, we have used the PEC. So, for the others, very good sa mga nakapas na sa inyong personal entrepreneurial competencies. So, it will help you measure asa diha nga mga aspects ang need pa nimo i-develop. So, kini nga mga entrepreneurial competencies gidefine ni sa usa ka sa mga researcher gidevelop pod unsa nga mga factors ang kasagaran nga maka-contribute sa success sa mga entrepreneurs. So ilang gi-develop o ilang gi-determine. After determining it, you can now rate yourself according to their questionnaires or by the use of their questionnaires. And then with the use of it, you can identify asa diha ka hinay, no? Then, asa ka diha need pa nimo mag-improve. So, that is the use of our PECs. So, let's proceed lastly sa medyo taas-taas, no? Nato nga part, aning feasibility study, ang financial feasibility. Ang financial feasibility, this should assess the viability of a business idea if one have enough cash to complete the idea and generate a profit. So, the four major elements to be included in a financial feasibility analysis include the capital or capital requirement or the initial capital, the estimated earnings, payback period or the time out of cash or wala ka ng pera, kailan yun, no? Internal rate of return or the rate kung saan or ang percentage, no, kung saan rate ng pera, ng pagtubo ng pera, kung saan ang net present value will be equal to 0. Kano saan na siya dapat. And then, resulting payback period, ang imong return on investment. So, we will be analyzing this in this topic. So, in each of these elements, there is an appropriate mathematical model naman that we can use. However, before we can come up with these numbers, we have to indicate our production requirements. So, what are the different production requirements? So, let us first define operations or production plan. The operations plan describes the physical necessities of your business operations, such as your production method. Physical location, plant size and location, plant layout, land and building requirements, tools, machineries and equipment requirements, raw materials, supplies requirement, utilities requirement, waste disposal, direct labor requirement, expected production level, operational scenarios, facilities, and equipment. So, sa kadaghan ani, we have only chosen some which we will cover in this lesson. So, just like the tools, machineries, so location, so yung plant layout, wala na nato siya gi-elaborate. So, ang production methods, these are processes and techniques that are used para or need nato to manufacture a product. So, depending on what kind of business you will be operating, it may also include information about inventory requirements or the suppliers. So, ang production method can vary greatly, no, depending on the specifications of the products and services that you will offer. And also the quantity required. So, there are different or 4 different production methods that we will discuss. Again, ang production method will vary greatly depending on the quantity and variation ng product. Quantity and variation ng product. So, ayan, quantity and variation ang depende kung ano nga production method ang imong gamiton. So, first nga production method or the production methods that we will be talking about is job production, batch production, flow production, and just-in-time production or JIT production. So, let's first start with the job production. Ang job production class, it is also called as a one-off production or sometimes called jobbing or one-off production. This involves producing custom work such as one-off products for a specific customer or a small batch of work in quantities using less than those of mass market products. So, ang job production daw, usually, it depends on so, pwede ka magpa-customize, no, sa job production. Depende kung ano yung kailangan ng imuhang customers sa job production. So, usually, ang variety pwede i-customize but limited yung number. Dili na nakadaghan ang imong i-produce. So, with job production, the complete task is handled by a single worker or a group of workers. So, ang job, it can be a small scale or low technology. Yung low technology jobs, example, hairdressing, tailoring, as well as complex high technology. Yung mga high technology jobs, it includes film production. Kaya siya sinabing job production kasi 'di ba once lang. 'Di ba pagka may film production, once lang sila gagawa ng movie, hindi siya balik-balik. Or like construction production, halimbawa gagawa ng road. Ormoc Hilongos Road. So, Ormoc Hilongos or Baybay Maasin Road ay. So, once lang nga project, dili siya balik-balik, nga pirmi na lang ka maghimog ingon ana. Kausara siya nga project. That's why it is job production. Based sa specification nga gipangayo sa imuhang customers. There are advantages and disadvantages of this job production. Some of which are each piece is made to the customer exact requirement. So, advantage siya. Which magugustuhan naman nung kasi customized kumbaga ng customer. And then, ang job satisfaction is high for the workers. No? Then, quality of goods is very high. Kasi specialized siya. Then, the design is flexible and can be changed. Usually, ikaw, bibili ka ng sasakyan. 'Di ba? Gusto mo hangga't maaari customized. So, pwede ka magpa-customize ng sasakyan. So, this will be under job production kapag nagpa-customize ka ng sarili mong sasakyan. So, next is the disadvantages. Ang disadvantages, one of which is the product are very expensive. Ayan. The work is very time-consuming. And the advantage of economic of scale are lost. Meaning economies of scale, kada bang binulto din na mo ay. So dili ka exploit sa economies of scale kay dili man kaayo usually daghan ang order aning job production. Halimbawa, magpapagawa ako ng machine tungod kay maghimo ko og kanang pang dressing ng chicken. So kintahay sa ako ang process from dressing, plucking ng mga hairs up to cutting, gusto ko automated na. So, if wala pang ganyang machine na mabibili sa market or if ever na meron, magpapa-customize ako ng base ako ang mga preferences. Pwede akong lumapit sa isang engineer or sa isang manghimuay and then ipapa-customize ko lahat. So, in short, si mang ihihimuay, murag job production rang iyang buhaton, dili na niya kasagaran utrohon, no? Or if utro na niya dugay pa, dili siya murag binatch ang himo. So, one by one or like limited ang number. Next class is the batch production. Si batch production naman mas madami, no? Kaysa sa job production. Kay binatch naman siya. Batch production is used to produce or process any product in groups or batches, where the products in the batch go through the whole production process together. So sa ato pa, ang production process ani is by batch. So this is common in bakeries and in a manufacture of electronic instruments like sports shoes, pharmaceutical ingredients, inks, paints, and adhesives. Kahit nga yung yung mga products no na kinarton na nakabutang diha batch number 001, no. So na mga batch number. So kini mga batch production, this is useful for small businesses that cannot afford to run continuous product lines kay by batch man siya. So likewise, this is useful for a factory that makes seasonal items. Like example class, Picos machine, no? Halimbawa, gagawa ka ng Picos machine, di ka naman gagawa ng Picos machine na iisa lang, 'di ba? So isang batch yung gagawin mo for this election kintahay. But you don't need to create Picos machine nga continuous ang product line kay dili man ka permi maghinimo ay og Picos machine. So most likely si batch production na ay interruption sa iyang production, dili diretso. So okay, per batch. So from the word itself, per batch. So products are difficult to forecast products for which it is difficult to forecast the demand. A trial run for production or products that have high profit margin are usually the products produced in batch production. However, this method of production requires very careful planning to decide what batch will be produced to avoid overproduction. So, dili ka magsigi-sige na lang og himo. There are inefficiencies associated with batch production. So, because equipment must be stopped, kinahanglan man i-reconfigure. Example, yung vacuum fryer class ng sweet potato. Ang vacuum fryer na siya cooling down, na siya preheating na 45 minutes. And then, after nimo magluto, imo pa siya i-cool down, tangtangon ang mga gagmay nga mga nahagbo nga mga pieces, nga mga sweet potato. Otherwise, pag dire-diretso yung pagprito mo doon, magiging lasang sunog. Kasi yung mga maliliit na crumbs na hindi nakuha, yun yung maunang masusunog kapag pinasukan mo ulit ng another batch. So, the machine has to be reconfigured. In short, then, ang per batch mo ng prito is 15 kilos ang maximum. So, in short, per batch yung paggawa mo. And you make sure nga dapat kada batch meron ka ng customer. So, example to ng output, no, para sa batch production. Usually, output is tested before the next batch can be produced. So, when the packed potatoes are frozen enough, niluluto yun kasi sa vacuum fryer. Tapos, may preheating pa. Tapos, 2 hours pa. No? It takes 2 hours of frying. So, meron siyang gap. So, imagine that a company like a Standard Textile provides hotels with towels, linens, and fabric. So, they need this for their business. Pero, hindi sila pwede magdire-diretso ng paggawa. Kung hindi, saan nila yun ibabagsak? So, they use batch production lang to fulfill bulk orders for specific hotels lang. So, using the batch process on a specific set of machines, they produce, example, 500 large pillowcases, which their clients need. One set of machinery will handle the small pillowcases, then another will will produce the 1,000 bed sheets. So, in short, depende gihapon sa needs sa customers, and then depende sa batch, no? So, that is for the batch production. So much for that. Let's continue. There is a flow production. It is where production takes place as a continuous process. Ayan. So, mas efficient na to. Financially, this is the most efficient and effective production method because there is less of a need for skilled workers. So, ang production can continue night and over weekends. Usually, mga companies, nakasud ko ingon ani nga company before. Usually, pag ingon ani nga company, na kay tulo ka shift in a day, no? So, naanay 8 hours because na we have 24 hours divided by 8 hours. So, 3 shift. So, day shift, may pag-graveyard ka, and then 8 hours. So, ana nga schedule nimo, no? Dire-diretso ang production sa imuhang company. Then, dahil dire-diretso, there will be no more customization dahil mas na ang production continuous na good. So, dili pwede nga example, production of sugar or production of oil dahil mass production na siya, hindi ka pwede mag-produce ng wait, sugar muna na malalaki ang bits. Wait, sugar muna na maliliit, dili. Dire-diretso siya. So, this is usually used when the production is standardized na. So, firms can benefit from the economies of scale or binulto na, no? Through the lowering of the cost of per unit ng production. Example is sa usa ka bread company. So, employees work in the mixing station, so they load and monitor the machines sa isang mixing dough. So, molders take the fresh dough coming from the conveyor belt and slap them into the cold bread pans, moving them into the freezer. So, usually, machine na gumagawa ng lahat, imo-monitor lang ng tao. Then, after a quick deep freeze, yung baggers count rows of frozen loaves of dough and push them through the bagging mechanism. So, yung mga boxers, ang mga boxers, they load completed bags na off the conveyor belt into the boxes and tape and stack them into the pallets. So, mora ila buhaton, ting box. And then, na-conveyor nga, ting dala na pod, no? Ting operate na lang sila sa mga machines. Lastly naman, yung mga pallet drivers, they moves the full pallet. Kana bang pallet, mura siya, mura og ka ng push cart, no? So, they moves this full pallet into the freezer for storage until delivery. So, the main disadvantage is that it is very difficult to alter the process. If trends change or customers want specific properties, it takes great cost, no, and time to achieve it, and it's expensive para ma-alter mo kasi continuous process na, kumbaga malalaki na yung mga machine na pinapagana mo. Lastly, class, sa isang production method is the just-in-time. It is a production method which is sometimes called lean production. Stock arrives just as it is needed for an order, no? Meaning there is essentially no stock held. So just in time lang. So in Japanese manggod or in Japanese philosophy, producing exactly the amount you required at exactly the time your customers require it. So advantage yan. So mao na siya ang philosophy sa Japanese. Producing exactly the amount you required at the exact time your customers require it. Advantage of the just-in-time production includes the increase in efficiency, waste of time, raw materials or waste of raw materials, and other resources nga wastes are eliminated. Businesses also save great expense as additional expense building are not needed to hold stock. So sa just-in-time, you don't or no, sa batch kasi 'di ba possible ka pa mag-hold ng stock. Sa just-in-time, we don't hold stock. Because just-in-time requires producers to forecast the demand accurately. Production methods can vary greatly depending on the specifications of the product and the quantity required. So those are the 4 different types of production. So para mo malaman kung ano yung production method na gagamitin mo, it will depends on the products, no, and the services that you will offer. Okay. So that is for the production method. So under the production plan or operations and production plan, we must indicate the plant. Yan ang just in time. We must indicate the plant location and the layout. So ang plant location, this refers to the choice of region and the selection of a particular site for setting up a business factory. But the choice is made only after considering cost, and benefits of different alternative sites. So we don't just simply say, dito ako maglo-locate kasi taga dito ako. It must be strategic, or it must be a strategic decision because it cannot be changed once taken. So an ideal location is one where the cost of the product is kept to minimum with a large market share, least risk, and the maximum social gain. It is the place of maximum net advantage, or yung pinaka-net nga advantage nimo, or which gives the lowest unit cost, no, of production and the distribution. So for achieving this objective, ang small-scale entrepreneur can make use of locational analysis for this purpose. So natural or climatic conditions and the availability and nearness to the source of raw materials, transport costs, access din sa market, then availability of infrastructures, apil na po ang availability of skilled and non-skilled labor force, and technically qualified and trained managers, banking and the financial institutions located nearby. These must all be considered. Apil na po ng transport overheads. Then utilities expense sub, no? Government influence could be both positive and negative in terms of free trades, no? So you have to consider all these aspects. Usually sa studies, imubot ngan og justification. Why do you choose that location? What are these advantages? Bakit dyan ka locate? Yung plant layout naman, class, this refers to the arrangement, no, of the physical facilities such as machineries, equipments, at saka furnitures within a factory or a building. So dapat these are assigned, or these are designed in a manner to have quickest flow ng materials at the lowest cost, no, with the least amount of handling in processing the product from receipt of material to the shipment of the finished product. So dapat halimbawa, ang first process mo blanching, then sunod peeling. Baka mamaya yung blanching mo na station mas malayo kaysa dun sa blanching, peeling, slicing. So dapat after blanching, ang sunod mo is peeling na station. Baka yung sunod mo peeling, so paikot-ikot ka. So kung bawat station may tao, so baka magkabundulan pa kayo. So dapat layout must also be planned strategically. So in the product line or layout, machines and equipments naman are arranged in one line depending upon the sequence ng operation. So hindi yung pinaglalabo-labo. So wherein ang raw materials can also move fast from one workstation to another workstation with the minimum works in progress, no? Sa storage din and materials handling. So dapat favorable. So another class na dapat i-present sa inyong paper, so we will be having our final output. So we will create a mini feasibility study. So you will indicate your just like the figure before this one, you will create your own feasibility dun sa inyong napili na product sa lesson 4.1. So maghimo mo og kanang feasibility, mini feasibility study. So inyubot ngan og amount sa land, amount sa building, kini nga mga table. So dili ingon ani ang format sa table, ha. Please follow the borders, the proper border lines. Tuapod nga do sa format sa 4.2 nga lesson learning task, no. So actually sayon ra ni siya, you will just create kuti lang. So this will be your practice then upon the write up of your mga manuscripts. So this has study, inyuhang studyhan if ang inyuhang business venture is feasible, no? Para possible, pwede ninyo sugdan if ever nga ganahan mo nga ipadayon. So, you will indicate sa land and building requirement, no? Pila kabuk ang land, pilang building, unit cost, total cost, lifespan, and annual depreciation. So, let's discuss about the lifespan. Ang lifespan ng land usually infinite, and but so hindi pwedeng hindi ka mag-indicate dyan. But sa building, ang building nagde-depreciate yan. You can search through the web sa ang depreciation, ang lifespan ng kada equipment, kada facility, and ng building. So halimbawa nabili mo ang isang equipment or building, halimbawa lang ha, para makita niyo yung calculation. Halimbawa is you will set, diba, binili niyo ng 5,000 pesos ang isang equipment or 6,000 pesos. Si 6,000 pesos, meron siyang 6 years or 6,000 pesos na siya 6 years nga lifespan. So i-search niyo sa web unsay kasagaran nga lifespan sa usa ka particular equipment. Kasi usually mga maliliit na equipment 3 years. Yung malalaki usually 5 years lang. Sasakyan 10 to 15 if I'm not mistaken. So ang depreciation is the price, ang amount niya divided by the depreciable value divided by the years, ang lifespan nun, or expected nga maguba na siya. So that is your annual depreciation. So if 5,000 pesos ang usa ka equipment, then nasa 5 years nga depreciation nga lifespan, so divided by 5, so nakay 1,000 nga gasto sa iyahang depreciation yearly. So this is actually needed to be accounted kasi usually sa businesses hindi na natin to sinasama, no? We just include the raw materials. If ganyan ang mangyayari sa ato ang expenses, di nato makita ng mga depreciation. If na-worn out na ang ato ang mga materials, wala na tayo ikapuli. Whereas if magsusubi ka ng pera or magsusubi ka ng mag-aalat ka ng profit para dyan, maabot ang tayo nga maguba na kay pang repair baka ha or pang ilis, no? So that is for the depreciation. Next class, you will also include the tools, machineries, and equipments na inyong gamiton sa inyong business venture nga gipili. So isulat lang ninyo sa table unsa nga item, unsa nga machineries and equipment that you need to use. Halimbawa, banana queue, you need stove, gas tank. So ibutang ang quantity, discuss highlights in the table. You can also discuss the usefulness of each equipment ngadto sa imong narrative. So again, per table na atay explanation. Then discuss the sources of this equipment. Where are the possibilities nga makakuha ka ana? Tingali ibutang nimo sa imuha vacuum fryer, but you are not able to distinguish whom are your potential suppliers, no? So make sure di lang ka basta-basta magbutang og stove. Where will you buy stove? Where do you think strategic mo palit og stove nga barato, ano? Like just like that. That is for the tools and the equipments. Next class, you will identify the raw materials and supplies requirement. So halimbawa sugar, milk, so ilan, unit cost, total cost. Make sure that ang inyong i-indicate dire, example nga raw materials nimo is good for a year. Dapat ang imuhang utilities expenses for the year, no? Para pag total nimo sa total cost, mo jive tanan ang imuhang data. So dapat if ang imuhang raw materials or ang mga materials nga gagamitin mo nga panghimo og banana queue, halimbawa is good for 1 month nga estimate. So dapat good for 1 month tanan ang utilities nimo, 1 month ra dili 1 year, para pag atong i-total sakto ang atuang total cost nga need. So that is for the raw materials. You list down all the raw materials. Discuss the sources of these materials or the highlights sa table. Relate the production method. Or if you know anybody nga makaproduce or makaprovide ninyo og raw materials daan. So you may discuss it here because you already know where you can get your supplies strategically. Discuss the production considering this requirement. So next class, you have to indicate the utilities requirement. So ang utilities requirement, again, if si raw materials is good for 1 month, si utilities requirement for 1 month din. Apil sa ato ang utilities requirement, ang electricity, water, phone bill, load, no? Apil na siya sa utilities. So labor requirement class. So si labor requirement, you can also indicate your labor requirements. How many do you need to hire sa production kanang realistic pod ha. And then na tay ano class ha, remember na atay barangay business micro. So pwede nga dili mo ano sa minimum wage law, no, sa inyong costing, because you can apply for barangay micro enterprises. Ayan, yung realistic lang na suhol kumbaga or wage per day. So inyo na siyang suwat diha. So dili pwedeng kung ikaw ang tag-iya and then wala ka na kay suhulang labor requirement. Make sure to indicate one, no, because you will treat the business entity as a separate entity from you. So you will be considering the business as someone na different from you. So ikaw gisuhulan ka ni business. So butangig labor expenses. Bisag 500 lang ba na siya nga honorarium. Basta dapat na atay labor expenses. And next class, of course, if there we have estimated the cost, dapat we can also estimate our forecast of our sales, no? Kinahanglan ma-forecast nato ang sales through the forecasted production level. So we have to write the appropriate expenses for at least first 5 to 10 years within the first year's projection monthly. So usually ang totoong feasibility study class, ang imuhang i-project sa inyong income statement is 5 to 10 years, no? Tapos yung first year ninyo is monthly. So sa ato karon ang atong buhaton, no? We will not dig in deep to this, but at least you have an you have an overview of how to create one. So we are done sa ato ang financial feasibility sa production aspect. So we will proceed sa ato ang financial plan. So after you are able to determine your production and operation plan, pilang imong labor, so you can be able to determine the cost ng imong sugdan. Therefore, you can proceed to your financial plan. So sa imong financial plan, this provides the entrepreneur with a complete picture, no, of how much and when funds are coming into the organization, where funds are going, how much cash is available, and the projected financial position of the firm. It also provides the short-term basic for budgeting control, and it helps prevent one of the most common problems for new ventures, kagaya ng lack of cash. So, sa ato ang financial plan, we will first indicate our financial assumption. Ano yung financial assumption? Ang financial assumption, makita na siya sa feasibility analysis, feasibility study, under financial plan or financial analysis. Yung financial assumption, ano nga ba yung financial assumption? These are the projected components which include income and expenses assumptions. So ato siyang i-project, as well as the inventory and accounts receivable in the balance sheet. So yung iba pag ganyan tungod kay maghimo pa ta og kanang start pa ba o kanang business idea, we only estimate. For those who are really interested in pursuing this business venture, so they really search for the near sa makatotohanan nga mga amounts nga para ilahang i-assume. Example, our assumption is Makita mo po din ang relation sa atong assumption sa mga musunod nga mga activities or sa mga ansiranan sa mga musunod, no. First nga assumption, sa ato ang buhaton class nga feasibility, mini feasibility, we will be assuming nga ang inyong total cost nga inyong na accumulate is utang, no. So in short, you will apply for a loan kintahay sa bank with an interest of 12% annually. In short, your loan, tataas yung loan mo ng 12% annually. So, interest on the loan from the credit facilities, kintahin ni utang ka sa Land Bank of the Philippines ng 12% annually. Once a year ka magbayad but annually. Ang 12%. So, ang total initial investment, imo po na siyang i-assume. Example, di ba? Nag-ano na mo class, inyo nang gitotal ang inyong mga utilities expenses sa pagsugod ana nga business, labor, raw materials. So, in short, you are able na to come up with a number nga maimo ninyong initial investment. So, inyo na siyang i-assume nga inyo na siyang loan sa bangko for you to be able to learn how to create an amortization schedule. So, you will indicate sa inyong financial assumption nga naa kay total initial investment of, in this example, 562,725 and 13 centavos ang iyahang capital. So, for this, an example, ang equity, percent of the initial investment is 0% in the initial investment. Okay. So, mo niyang iyang assumption. In short, unsa man ni siyang equity class. If familiar mo sa word nga mga asset, liabilities, so sa accounting, ang equity class, mao ni siya ang amount sa imuhang capital sa inyong business nga dili utang. In short, ito yung amount or capital sa business mo na pag-aari ng business mo na hindi siya utang. That is your equity. So, we assume nga 0% ang pag-aari ng business mo dahil all your investments will be coming from loan, which is 12% ang interest annually. Okay? So, ang loan is, the percent interest investment is 60% of the initial investment. Okay. Ito naman, ayan, 40 pala. Pero sa atua, 100% ha. Bali, kintahay na-assume nga 50,000 pesos or no, 8,000 pesos kintahay nga capital sa ato ang business idea nga na-come up. Ang ato ang equity nga i-assume is 0% and ang ato ang loan percent nato is 100% will be coming from Land Bank of the Philippines kintahay with a 12% interest. So, si Ja, in its case, ang iyahang loan is 60% ang coming sa bangko and 40% provided sa owner. Kumbaga, 40% of the equity pag-aari ng business. So, ang tax, kintahay atong i-expect nga 20% ang net of the net income is the tax, no? So mo ni ang example sa assumption, pero since di man ta maghimo og income statement murag maghimo data sa example, tan-awan nato sa ato ang example sa ato ang mini feasibility study. But in case that you will create your own, you can simply create a 1 year, no? 1 year feasibility income statement para dili kayo bugat. So, ang tax expense dire, financial assumption niya is 20%. Contingency cost, 10% of the fixed asset. When we say contingency cost class, ito yung cost na hindi mo, di ba, merong unnecessary expenses. So, kinahanglan ka mag-budget diha. Di ini mo pwede hot doon tanan. So, if 10% ang 10% of the fixed asset ang imong contingency cost, that is the amount of the kumbaga budget mo in case nga naay mga emergency. So ang fixed asset class, ito yung mga land, building, tools, equipment. no? Mao ni siya ang dili basa-basa mahurot, but these are the things with the depreciation. Yan ang ato ang fixed asset. So, there is also an assumption of sales increase of 1.5% every year. Since sa projection sa kini nga feasibility study nga example, ang iyang gibuhat, ang iyang gi-project is 5 years, which is sakto dapat 5 to 10 years yun ang i-project sa usa ka feasibility study. So, that is COGS or cost of goods sold increase of 2% per year. What is the meaning of cost of goods sold naman? Class, ang cost of goods sold, ito yung cost, kumbaga puhunan mo kada nabenta mo, no? Halimbawa, class, nagbenta ako ng 10 pesos na banana Q. 7 pesos doon puhunan, 3 pesos yung profit ko. Another term or technical term sa business or sa mga entrepreneurs, sa profit is the profit margin, no? Margin yung term. So, ang imahang cost is 7%. Ang cost of, pag nabenta mo yung isang 10 pesos na yon, ang cost nung nabenta na yon, or ang cost of goods na nabenta, or cost of goods sold, yan, no, is 7 pesos. So, imo i-total ang cost of goods sold per year. So, through your analysis, kintahay sa imuhang raw materials, good for 1 month, imong gi-assume, na kay ingon ani kadaghan nga saging, ingon aning kantidad, ang imong ma-produce is 100 ka buok with the amount of unsay tawag ana, 100 ka buok with the amount of 700 pesos kintahay. So ang imuhang cost of goods sold og mabenta to tanan is 700. So that is for your cost of goods sold. Then, next class, ayan, total cost. Dapat makitaan sa ato ang financial analysis, ang total cost. Ang total cost, this will provide the entrepreneur with a complete picture of how much and when funds are coming into the organization, where funds are going, how much cash is available, and the projected financial position of the firm. So, one has to indicate the total cost, it provides short-term basis for budgeting control, and helps prevent one of the most common problems for new ventures or the lack of cash. So in your groups, pwede ninyong hati-hatiin, no? Halimbawa, ikaw ang sa total cost, ikaw ang sa ganito, ikaw ang sa industry. Assign lang mo sa part, and then naiusa nga bu-consolidate. And then, fixed asset, no? Ito isa sa makikita niyo sa mga total cost. Example lang to siya na table. Halimbawa, sinulat mo yung mga fixed asset mo, 420,000, yung working capital mo or yung mga raw materials, contingency cost 42,000 with a total of 560,725 pesos and 13 centavos nga total cost. So, mo ni kintahay, no? From our computation kanina. So, imo po di-indicate ang source of fund. So, sa ato ang case, pwedeng di na nimo isuwat ang source of fund nga table because we will not be including equity, so tanan loan. So, pwede na nimo in-narrative form na lang, ayaw na lang siya table. Eto class, you will create an amortization schedule. In the learning task 4.2, ang inyuhang learning task is to create, is to pass or submit the amortization schedule that you will use sa inyuhang mini feasibility study. How to create an amortization schedule? Ang amortization schedule, manggod, it is a complete table of periodic loan payments showing the amount of principal and the amount of interest that comprise each payment until the loan is paid off at the end of its term. Example sa amortization table class. Halimbawa, umutang ka ng motor. Mugamit na sila og amortization table or amortization schedule. Di ba matinga mo? Moingo na sila, o mo ni ang interest, and then mahatag lang sila og amount pila ka monthly. So moingon sila nga if imo na nabayaran tanan karon, mas lahi ang presyo karon og mas makabarato ka og karon nimo bayaran kaysa next month pa or next year pa. Tungod na siya sa amortization schedule. So, first, you will have to compute pila ang amount nga imong need nga bayran or imong need bayran kada time og payment relative sa og pila ka buok payment ang imuhang buhaton. So, mao ni siya ang formula. A will be the periodic payment amount, which is ito yung hahanapin natin or isosolve natin. P will be the amount of principal or net of initial payments. Okay, so P, amount of principal, pila ang imong utang. So, dili man ta mo palit, muutang og motor, mo palit, o muutang ta og pang negosyo. So, pila ang imuhang total cost. So, mo nang imong letter P. Okay, letter I, periodic interest rate. Mao ni siya ang interest sa bangko. Okay, in our case, we will use 12%. Then, total number of payments, no? So, in our case, ang ato ang amortization schedule, use 5 number total of payments. Because we will assume that the 12% is to be paid once a year, every year. So, as an example, ngadto sa ato ang gitotal ganina kasi yung example nga total cost sa iyahang investment sa schedule, iyahang gi-calculate how much is the periodic payment amount or pilang iyang bayaran kada tuig. So, example, di ba sa iyahang 563,000, ang loan niya is 60%. So, katong 500,000 ka pin, iya gi-times sa 60%. Maura iyahang i-loan. Because the 40% of it, gikan sa ilahang personal nga money. Or this is the equity or personal na money sa business. So, 337,000 is the 60% of this 500,000 ka pin. So, 500,000 ka pin times 0.60. So, 337 ang ilang giutang. So, morning principal, morning utangon sa bangko. With the interest rate of 12% or 0.12. So, number of payments is 5 times lang. Once a year, kintahay. So, stick lang ta ani, no? Para uniform ta. So, how will we answer this question? So, first, rule in math, PEMDAS rule. Unsa man ang PEMDAS? Parenthesis, ang unahon, exponent, then multiplication or division, addition, and subtraction. Okay, FEM, parenthesis. So, sa numerator, unahon og solve ang 1 plus 0.1, which is 1.12. So, exponent ang sunod, raised to 5. Okay, 1.12 raised to 5. Diha pa i-times sa 0.12. Then, diha pa i-divide sa answer ani, which is 1.12 raised to 5 minus 1. Okay? Then, the answer will be multiplied to P, which is the 330,635. So, you can try to calculate it, and then ito yung sasagot, no? So, 1 plus 0.12 raised to 5, gi-times sa 12, 1 plus 0.12, yan, gi-raise na po sa 5 payments once a year minus 1. Gi-divide, no? Gi-times sa 337,000. So, we got 93,663.26. So, in short, si letter A, mo ni siyang iyang bayaran every year, no? So, dapat the company will be able to pay 93,663 per year. So, paano gumawa ng amortization schedule? So, class, sa inyong amortization schedule, you should be able to show the solution of how did you solve letter A. Moreover, this schedule will be a table that will present the periodic loan payments showing the amount of principal and the amount of interest that comprise each payment until a loan is paid off at the end of its term. So, ayan. Di ba kanina 93,000 kanina class? Dapat first year, di ba hindi ka pa magbabayad. Matatapos yung year, di pa ka magbayad. Di pa ka magbayad sa first year. Sa second year, nanidaga na, di pa ka magbayad. So, sa second year, sa third year, sa fourth year. So, sa first year, 0 year sa time nga nikuha kag kwarta, at the end of the year ang imong utang 337. So beginning of the year ang imong principal nga utang sa second year or sa first year nimo 337. Ang pangutana, 337,000 pa imong utang, pero ang imong bayra 93,000. Pila ang maadto sa principal, pila ang maadto sa interest. So, sa 93,000 nga imong payment every year, pila ang masud sa interest, nga which is 12%, pila ang masud sa principal. So, what we do in here is that 93,000, we first multiply 93,000 sa 0.12%. Ayan. So, dito muna tayo sa 4. So, we indicate how much are we going to pay kada year. So, i-indicate ang year end sa first year, beginning of the year. So, 93,000 times 0.12% is 40,000 ang first payment. So, atong i-minus pod si 40,000, 93,000 minus 40,000 equals your principal payment. So, if this is your interest, no, 93,000 times 0.12, 40,000 sa 93,000 masud sa interest. No, ang mabili na masud sa principal. Okay? So, i-minus pod nimo 93,000 minus principal equals 284,000. So, sa beginning na year 284,000 na pod. 93,000 times 0.12 equals 34,000. Okay? So, 93,663 nga imuhang payment. 34,000 ana ang masud na sa interest. So, ang mabilin masud sa principal. Then, principal, i-minus nimo ang balance minus principal equals end of the year payment. Then, end of the year, so what na po nimo sa next year nga, beginning of the year. 93,000 times 0.12 equals number 4 na po, interest. Then, ang mabilin, i-minus nimo sa 93,000, mahimong principal. Until such time nga mag-zero na ang imuhang payment. So, sakto sa atoang A or ang atoang periodic payments nga naatay 5 payments once a year. In the last year, mahimo ng 0, no? 0 ang atoang utang. So, that is how to make an amortization schedule. So, mao ni ang atong income statement. So, you will create your income statement. So, you may include only the first year, no? Okay. I-expect nimo in a year pilang imong sales per month. Ana. So, diri lang to sa first year. So, si income statement naa siya two basic nga content. Ang makita sa income statement, 'di ba, sa income statement from the word itself dapat makita-an ang income. So, if naay income, dapat naay sales ug naay expenses. So, if naay sales, dapat naay expenses. This is to derive, ayan, revenue. Ang revenue or ang sales revenue o ang sales is mao na siya ang imuhang halin, no? So, mo nang major nga makita nato sa atuang income statement. Next is the total expenses. This is to derive your net income, no? Okay? So, for technical terms, ang gross income or gross sales class, pag sinabing gross, no? Yan yung pinaka total sales or revenue in a period or in a year. Pag liniles mo yung cost of goods sold or sa banana Q pa yung 7 pesos na puhunan or 7 times pila ka bukang imong nahimo in a month. So, i-minus mo yung cost of goods sold equals your gross margin. Okay? Pag nilas mo naman lahat ng mga expenses, no? Just like operating expenses, which includes your salaries, marketing expenses, or yung mga komisyon ng mga nagbebenta or mga komisyon ng mga kanang mga ahente mo, administrative expenses or sweldo ng mga manager mo, depreciation expense dapat nandyan yan, interest expense ng loan mo dapat nandyan din yan sa income expense mo. Pag minus mo yung lahat mo, ang sagot is operating expenses. Pag nilas mo yung tax mo, dyan pa lang makikita yung net income. This is your disposable income, your net income. After one has been deducted or has deducted the tax. So, the net income is the difference between your total sales and your total expenses in a year. In short, your projected income is reflected over 5 years. So, usually in a feasibility study, it is reflected for 5 years. But in our studies, you may reflect about a year. So, sa ato pong financial analysis, you may be able to assume, halimbawa mo ingon ka nga, ako ang target is to increase 2% increase in sales every year through market penetration and different strategies that I may employ. So, I expect a 2% increase in net income every year. So, you may include it in your financial analysis. So, you may project the projected or estimated net profit every year. So, year 1, you are not able to create a profit or the year 0 because you have invested 562,000. Then year 1, this is your projected income through your projected production volume until you are able to specify the projected net cash flow in 5 years. After that, in the financial analysis, we must find the net present value, the internal rate of return, the payback period, and the return of investment. So, let's define each of these. So, let's first start sa net present value. Unsa maning net present value? So, class, do you believe that the value of money today is equal to the value of money in the future? Diba, nakabantay mo, class, moingon ang inyong ginikanan. Sa una, anak, ang ahong baon, piso. Pero daghan ko'y mapalit, no? Karon, ang piso, kindi na lang, no? Or sa una ko 500 pesos, dako ko'y makumpra, karon gamay na lang. This is because the value of money today is not the same as the value of the money before. One of the things possible, one of the factors included sa pagbabago nito is because of the inflation rate. So, net present value will help us calculate the present value of the future cash inflows or yung mga future net income para makita natin kung worth it ba yun na matanggap mo in the future. Tapos ipagpapalit mo lang yun sa ganitong investment mo today. So, by definition, ang net present value, it is the value of all future cash flows, positive and negative, over the entire life of an investment discounted to the present. So, diniscount mo or minus mo yung investment mo in the present. So, let's discuss paano natin ito mako-compute. So, ayan. Ito yung formula ng net present value. Ang net present value mo, ito yung, kumbaga, sa matatanggap mo after 1 year na 447,000. Magkano ang equivalent nun ngayon? No? So, you have to indicate, ito yung net income mo in the first year, and then discount rate 1 plus 0.12%. Ang rate sa ato ang price of borrowing money, the discount rate, so 12%. So, by default, ang atong gamitin is 12% class ha. So, 1 plus 12 na siya. So, sa first year class, mag-differ lang ta sa inyuhang net cash flow. Pilang inyong i-assume nga inyuhang halinon karong tuiga next year up to 5 years. So, for your income statement class, you may only draft year's income statement. However, in the projected income cash flow, net income, you may indicate a projected cash inflow sa 5 years. So, kada year 1, pila ang imong madawat year 1, so ang time 1 pud na diha. If pila pud imo madawat year 2, ang time lahi pud diha. Madawat imo year 3, lahi pud ang time diha. Paano yon? Ganito. Halimbawa, sa ato ang example class nga ang ato ang madawat per I don't know anong naklaro no, pero ang ato ang madawat on the first year must be indicated, no. So let's take a quick look or a quick glance. Sa ato ang first year, we expect, or di ba 0 year ang pinaka first. So the first cash inflow is 443,416 and 79 centavos. So ato na siyang ipangsuwat diha. Mo na ang imong cash inflow sa R. So 1 plus 0.12 and year 1. Same as with the year 2, na atay gi-expect nga 477,883.21. 1 plus 0.12 year 2 na 2 na ang iyahang time. Same as the third year. So sa inyong output class, ang inyong buhaton, kamo na ang mo estimate pila ni ang inyong net cash inflow. Halimbawa, ang inyong target is 2%, pero kanang realistic po ha. Halimbawa, 2% increase in sales every year. So kini 443 times 0.02 kintahay plus 443, so 477 kintahay. So mao na siyang imuhang net increase kada year. So just indicated in the financial assumptions. Pilang imuhang assumption per year. So kana siya 513 kintahay ang financial assumption nga madawat niya. Fourth year 515 na, and then the fifth year 588. So imo na siyang itotal ang answer. Pilay answer ani 443 416.79 divided by 1.12 raised to 1 equals 397. So imo na siyang itotal. After ninyo makuha ang mga answer ana, inyo na po na siyang i-total, no? Ang answer ana, mauni siya ang present value, kining 1,826,339, mao na siya ang present value sa tanan inyong madawat, no, for the 5 years. So, mao na ang value sa inyong madawat karon, no? If karon na ninyo madawat, mao na ang value karon. So, if mao na ang value karon, i-minus nimo pila ang imuhang puhunan, which is 562,725. In short, ang difference ana, which is the net present value, is 1,263,613.95. The net present value, which is 1,293,000 is higher than the initial capital, which is 562,000. Therefore, what is yung investment? Because in 5 years, mas dako pang imuhang value, no? Sa imuhang madawat in 5 years. Sa imuhang puhunan, which is 562,000. So, that is for your present value. So, let's discuss about the internal rate of return. So, sa internal rate of return class, this is the rate. No, 'di ba kanina yung yung discount rate? Ang discount rate, dili ba kita magbuot-buot ani, depende pilang rate anang kwarta sa bangko, pila ang rate, cost of borrowing money, pila ang percent. So, pila ang cost of borrowing money nga ang imuhang tanang investment ma-offset ang net present value. In short, ang imuhang investment, pila ang internal rate of return nga ang tanan nimong mga madawat or net cash inflow in the future is 0 sa imuha nga net present value kung bagaway bili, no? Pila ang rate nga mawad ag bili ni siya nga di ka musugot nga ingon ana ug ingon ani nagani kataas ang percentage dili na ko musud og inani nga venture kay taas na kaayo if ingon ani kataas ang cost of borrowing money, which is the internal rate nga 12%. So paano yun i-solve? So sa internal rate of return ganina di ba nag-solve ta og net present value. So si net present value ato na siyang gibutang sa Excel. So atong gisuwat ang internal rate kato nga how to calculate net present value. So for the first year ang net present value is ang present value is 395,000, 382,000 given nga ang rate is 12%. So automatic yan naka-plug in sa ato ang 1 plus 0.012 kining 12% divided by 100 so 0.012 automatic siya naka-plug in raised to ikapila nga year. So nakasuwat na siya dire automatic. So para if i-change na lang ni nako ang internal rate makakita ko pila ang net present value given nga gi-minus nato ang atong investment. So sa Excel, ang pagkuha sa internal rate of return is trial and error. Here, kinahanglan ang internal rate of return is ma-0, no? So, atong tan-aw pila ang net present value na pinakaduol sa 0. So, ang internal rate of return, manggod nga answer is 80. So, ako siyang gi-check. Ang pinakaduol sa 0 nga net present value is 2,766. Ako gisuwayan og 81 nga rate. So, ang nigawas, negative na. Then, next is, ako gisuwag 79. So, naging 39,000 na. So, in short, ang tamang answer is 80%. That is our net present value. Okay? Ayan, 80%. So, ang net present value na 80%, ang internal rate of return yung 80%, metric daw yan used in financial analysis to estimate the probability of a potential investment. Then, the discount rate, this is the discount rate that makes the net present value or the NPV of all cash inflows in the future will be equal to 0 in a discounted cash flow analysis. Discounted cash flow analysis na gi-minus na nga to ang investment. So, ayan ang naging formula ni internal rate of return wherein net present value became 0. And para hindi na mahirap i-compute, we have used Excel. So, class, maipapayo ko din sa inyo, no? Techie naman jud mo, i-explore ninyo ang Excel for you to learn about the Excels, ng mga formulas, because magamit jud na ninyo wherever you go. If maka-work mo, alas ninyo, if naamoy skills sa Excel or Visio, Adobe Photoshop, no? So, widen up your skills. So, now, so if you have clarifications, no, you just message me or you may email me or in any convenient manner, no? So, feel free to reach me out. So, sa payback period naman, class, ang payback period, ito yung amount of time it takes to recover the cost of an investment. Cost of an investment, di ba, ang cost ng investment natin is nasa 500,000. So, mo to yung cost na kinahanglan nato i-recover. So, in this case, ang cash inflow, no, sa atong example, 443, expected niya nga musud nga kwarta. Sa second year, expected niya 477, kaya nagtika-increase ang 443 og 2%. 477, increase na po og 2%, kitahay. Ang accumulative cash flow, ana, so, in the first year, nakadawat siya 443. In the second year, nidawat siya 477. So, ang accumulative on the first year, nadawat niya 443. And the second year, nadawat niya 443 plus 477. Third year, ang iyang nadawat is 922 plus 513 nga madawat in the third year. So, mo-accumulate na siya, that will be equals to 1 million until makakuha siya ng 2,574,000. So, today, what are we going to do is, we will recover the cost of the investment. Ang cost ng investment is 562,000. So, 443 ang ato ang first year. So, ang nahitabuan ni atong 443, atong gimayno si 443 sa 562, 725. Pila na lang mabilin, no? Sa mabilin nga answer, mao'y ato ang gi-divide sa 477 nga madawat in the next year. So, ang answer is 1 year plus 0.25 is equals to 1.25 year. It took time for the example to recover the cost of his or her investment, which is 477,883.21. Ayan. So, lastly, class, we will discover how to compute the return on investment. Ano ba yung return on investment? Yung return on investment, class, is calculated by dividing the net profit earned on the investment by the cost of the investment. So, giles na tanan. Giles na tanang taxes, interest, ang tanan expenses. Ang answer nga net profit is divided by the cost of investment, which is 500,000 ang iyang initial capital. So, it is expressed as a percentage. So, mahitabo net profit divided by total investment times 100 equals the return of investment. So, mas mataas ang return of investment mo, mas better, no? So, if you have questions and concerns, you may message me. Feel free to PM me, no? Or clarifications. So, for your learning assessment, so, I have included the PEC material in the lesson 4.2. So, to measure one's entrepreneurial readiness, the University of the Philippines Institute for Small-Scale Industries, or UPISSI, has developed tools on how to assess personal entrepreneurial competencies by using test questionnaires, or the Personal Entrepreneurial Competencies, or the PECs. So, submit your PEC profile format and instruction, which could be downloaded from the link within the PowerPoint presentation. So, make sure to save the file, file in this format. So, example, write your section first para hindi mawala yung papers nyo, underscore your surname, underscore the learning assessment 4.2 PEC. Okay, so that is all for this long and very, very long discussion. So, thank you so much for listening. I hope you really have a great time. Or if not, I wish you all the best. And I pray that you have learned a lot. That's all. And thank you so much.